is all which we really want to do and be positive through this. I sent this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while. And as soon as I was thinking about it, Peter emailed me from SMB Technologies that he wanted to do a seminar like this around the same types of topics. So it was a perfect timing on all different alignments coming together, and we were able to pull this together quickly for you. So we have a lot of different experts with us today that are going to help us navigate what we can do for our businesses as way remote from home. Talk about different opportunities that are out there for lending options, and then just things that the chamber is working on and the town is working on, so we can keep everybody informed. And on that note, since we know we have a lot of people involved, I'd like to introduce you to the people that are going to be on the call today. Peter, do you want to flip that to the next page?
Oh, sure.
Thank you. Thank you. So again, Peter Verleza is the mastermind behind this. He has the technology. He is a Hamden-based business right in the heart of Hamden, and we're thankful for him to be able to help us with this type of technology. We couldn't do it without him, so we're very appreciative of his time, his knowledge to help us pull together. And Peter's going to kind of take the ropes after I'm done speaking. He's going to take the ropes and guide everybody through this, through our webinar. We also have people that are going to be on board with us today, 2 representatives from Bankwell to talk about the SBA process. Even though we know that a lot of things are changing on a daily basis, it's good to have the information, and they'll be able to join us and talk a little bit more about it. We also have 2 attorneys. We have Louis Federici and Jennifer Rignoli. Jen is on our board of directors here at the Chamber of Commerce, and they're with Perrette, Porto, Paris, and Caldwell. And Attorney Federici is an employment law attorney and will be able to guide us through the challenges that sometimes our businesses might face, and to know a little bit more about the employment laws and things of that nature. And then we also have Dale Krupp, who will be coming on, who is the Economic Development Director of Hamden, to let you know of things that our Hamden are working on behind the scenes for our businesses as well. So on that note, I'd like to turn it over and thank once again Peter Verleza from SMB Technologies to help us through this process and to guide our webinar. So thank you to Peter.
You are very welcome. Thank you, Nancy. So here we are. Let's talk about some good stuff. So I'm Peter Verleza. I'm the CEO of SMB Networks, and a lot of people refer to us as the place with the sign on the lawn. This is today's sign, put up about 30 minutes ago. For those of you that remember Sesame Street, well, 2020 is brought to you by the letters WTF. That's what it's sounding like. So I adopted, we're all in the same place. Several weeks ago, this began to happen, and I adopted this phrase for myself, for my company, for my community, my family, really anyone that I run into. We are going to come out of this, and we are planning for recovery, and this will be over soon. But in my opinion, the light at the end of the tunnel is not a train, it's the other end of the tunnel. We'll come out of it. So with that said, I'm going to deviate a little bit from what I was going to talk about, but we will get on it, and I'll spend a little bit of time. One of the things I want to come out of this with is what you need to know now to recover and thrive in these uncertain times. We're going to talk about 3 specific topics and subjects. You know what they are. I have to add a couple more people. Again, but I'm gonna deviate a little bit with a message. A while ago, I sent a message out to, that I'd like to just try to paraphrase quick, to my clients, to social media community, to my spheres of influence, and it was really well received. And I feel like I want to deliver the message here because it's pertinent. So bear with me. The last few weeks have been a crap show and a roller coaster. We all know that. We still have distance to go. I don't want to minimize what's going on, but I decided I want to focus on recovery. We'll come out of this. It won't be without leadership, compassion, and dedication. I want to share some of these thoughts with you. First and foremost, my opinion, stay calm. Remember that panic is contagious, but so is leadership. Take care of yourself. Eat healthy, drink plenty of water, rest and exercise. To be an effective leader at home or at work, you need to stay healthy. Again, my opinion, limit your consumption of news. It's essential to stay informed about the measures being taken to keep us safe, but the mass media is churning out a lot of negative messages and misinformation. Be selective about your sources of information, limit your dose of content consumption. Talk about social distancing. Distance yourself from social media, those naysayers. You know, social media is a good medium to strengthen our bonds, but many people use this channel to hype difficult times. My recommendation is exercise discipline, limit your use to that you must. Identify your sources of information that are objective and truthful. Have you noticed that many of our political pundits are now epidemiologists or medical professionals? I guess it just depends on which way the wind blows. Stay away from the ongoing conversation. Stay informed about statements and requests from our officials. Prioritize issues of greatest urgency. You can only be effective if you're focusing on the important things. We can't do everything at once. Prioritize. Improve your thoroughness and frequency of communication with your employees, family, patients, clients, whomever your community is. Hopefully that minimizes the sense of isolation and confusion that some people may experience, and it will reassure your immediate community. Despite this difficult time, most of us are doing well. If you can, and you must, work from home. This has proven to be the key to slowing this virus. It's not only good for you, but it's also good for your community. You don't want to give and or get here. And remember, we're all in this together. I encourage you to also look for opportunities to do something extraordinary. Put yourself out there, such as what the Hamden Chamber of Commerce is doing for this community. I thank you for allowing me that opportunity to speak, and let's move on. All right. So with that, and by the way, we are going to, we'll break, I think, after each person to have questions. Let's try that out. I don't want us to spend more than 10 or 12 minutes each. I don't want to get this long and extended out there. We're really trying to bring you some general information and smooth things out a little bit so you have some more information on what's happening. So reminders of what to do to remain safe online, best practices when working from home or in the office. A lot of what I have to say here is what I and my community have been saying for years. You have to be mindful and you have to remain prudent with, or stay prudent with what it is that you're doing. Email is primarily the biggest and fastest way to introduce a virus or some other kind of malware to your computer. Many of us are working from home. For a lot of us, we normally work from home. What we're really talking about here is people that have moved from an office to a home office and are remoting back into your office environment. Some of the protections that you had might not be on your home computer. They might not be on your laptop. You're going to still be getting the same emails. The frequency of phishing emails has gone up exponentially with the issues that we're facing with this crisis that we're in. So be mindful, be present, know who's sending you emails, don't visit bad sites, have antivirus on your computer, make sure that your data is backed up. When you can, use things like multi-factor authentication just to more deliberately protect yourself. I don't want to delve into this part too deeply, and there will be resources on our website that I'll share with you later. But one thing I just want to throw out for business people out there. We put an offer out to the community about 2 or 3 weeks ago that we will help any business that wants to get set up remotely at no charge through the end of May. So if you are a small business and you need help getting set up so you can work remotely from your home, and we can't help everyone because some people have a laptop that they bring back and forth. If you need help, if you have questions, if you just want to talk to somebody about the kinds of things that you could or should be doing, you can reach us at an email address that I'll give you now, but I'll also give you some other resources at the end. The email address is techhelp@smb-ins.org. SMBnetworks.LLC.com. We will also have a resource page on our website. If you go to the homepage, SMBnetworksLLC.com, you can click a link there. There will be a form that you could fill out to request the help. Again, no cost. We will help you if we can. Not everyone can be. And we will do this until and through the end of May. And we might revise that if things go longer than that period of time. So, summarize: to stay safe, remain mindful, be prudent, be sure that you have your, again, your antivirus on your computer and your backup on your computer, and that you're not opening up email if you don't know where they're coming from or who. Verify, verify, verify. If somebody is asking you to make a payment to a particular vendor, pick up the phone and call them. Let's communicate more often than we normally would when times are normal. So with that said, I thought I saw Nancy, did you have a question or something posted?
No, I just wanted to forward, to have the attorneys go next. And I want to be able to make sure we can, I think that our Bankwell friends, we have so many people on right now. I think they're waiting to be let in.
Okay, I see Clayton.
Okay.
And let's just see here.
I want to make sure Sarahi's here. She's here as well.
Okay, let's see. Is Sarahi here? Oh, give me a second. You know what, Lewis?
Yeah.
Why don't you?
Yep. I think while we figure that out before our Bankwell friends come on, I think we turn it over to our attorney friends and and go on with that.
Okay, Lewis, go right ahead.
Peter, just make sure if you can give Jennifer the opportunity to share the PowerPoint, that'd be great.
All right, how do I do that, you think? Let's see, that's some kind of technological game you're playing with me there.
Otherwise, I can certainly jump in. While you're doing that, I'll just do a quick intro. First of all, thanks very much to the Hamden Chamber. Nancy, appreciate the effort pulling this together. And Peter, thanks for hosting. Jennifer and I are partners at Perrette, Porto, Parisi, and Colwell right here in Hamden, diagonally across from Town Hall, at One Hamden Center. And we provide counsel to many small and large businesses and individuals on a great many employment, human resource matters. And as you might expect, the last couple, 3 weeks have been consumed with the response to the COVID-19 public health crisis we're all dealing with. So quite simply, we have 10 minutes. We're going to zero in on the Families First Coronavirus Recovery Act and how that interacts with the Connecticut Department of Labor unemployment applications that many people are dealing with, both as employers and employees. So the FFs, are we good to go?
Yeah, Jennifer, see if you can take that.
I think so. I'm going to mute my microphone in a second.
Beautiful.
Do we see Families First Corona?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let me quiet myself.
There we go. Okay, so thanks Jen, thanks Peter. So I'm sure just about everyone has heard of this at this point. The federal government has jumped in response to this emergency that in addition to the public health emergency, there's a corresponding economic catastrophe potentially that needs a response. And one of the early responses is this FFCRA, which will take effect tomorrow, April 1st. This basically covers all employers of 500 employees or less, including any employee that has worked 30 days or more. So basically it gets its arms around every employee, which are both significant changes from traditional family medical leave. There are certain exemptions available to employees under 50 employers under 50 employees. And that exemption would require an application to the Department of Labor and a representation, essentially, that your business would be imperiled, if you follow through on the requirements here. But for practical purposes, that's another discussion for another day. Everyone would need to be in a position to respond to this. So that brings us to who the eligible employees would be. Basically, there's three classes of employees who would be subject and have an opportunity for direct leave. Anyone subject to a federal, state, or local quarantine order. Someone who's been advised by a healthcare provider to self-quarantine for COVID-19 purposes, and someone who's actually experiencing COVID-19 symptoms. There's also there's a circumstance for people to request a different leave for the necessity of caring for a child who is home as a result of a child care agency or school closing down as a result of the crisis. So there's a catch-all if you're suffering symptoms similar to this. I mean, I haven't frankly come across anyone who's even asked about that yet, but it's on the list. So those are the eligible employees. Basically, the employers are required to post a notice, and that notice is available at the Department of Labor website, and that notice must go up by tomorrow so that everyone has, there it is, thanks Jen, so everyone has an idea of what to do and how to do it. So I did touch on the qualifying reasons for leave. You're either quarantined, you're actually having symptoms, or you've been diagnosed. Under that circumstance, any of those three criteria, you are eligible up to 80 hours of leave at your regular pay or at your local minimum wage, whichever is greater, up to a maximum of $511 per day. And there is a 10-day cap on the amount of benefit that must be paid. Now, that's if someone is obviously, if they fit into one of those three categories, they can't be at work. And they can't otherwise be working at home. If someone is not sick and they're just eligible, they fall into one of the other categories. If they can telework and still make that happen, they would not be eligible for the benefit, but of course they'd have to be paid. And the idea is to try and find as many ways as possible to keep people working and keep as much business flowing as possible. You can also do this on an intermittent basis. And so if someone's able to work a couple days and not other days, benefits can come in and out on that basis. So the next category that I did mention is those people who have to care for someone who's out of school or out of childcare as a result of a closure order. That also is in effect for up to 80 hours with a $200 per day cap. I'm getting a wave off.
So actually, I'm sorry, if you
That's
can
all right.
hear me, this is Jen Rignoli. I'm going to skip ahead. So that's actually the fifth category in our slide, Lou. So for caring for the child whose school or place of business is closed, that's the 12-week. If we go back, if you're caring for someone who's under self-quarantine, that's where the 80 hours would apply. So it is a bit confusing because with the 6 different circumstances, there's different durations and calculations of pay. But the one that Lou's speaking about now, I'll let him finish on,
Okay.
but I put that appropriate slide up.
So leaving out the child care, which is 12 weeks, Jen's correct. Someone who, if you have to care for a person who's been sick or quarantined, you have up to 2 weeks to do that at that rate discussed. Okay, so there's different formulas for calculating what benefits are paid under what circumstances. They're on the slides. The slides, we're going to try and make those slides available. And if you find someone, and these things I should also say are if your business is still operating. If in fact your business is already closed or everyone's already been laid off as a result of the inability to operate due to the economic problems, someone would be eligible for unemployment in that circumstance. But if the business is not operating or that employee is already out, they would not be eligible for this thing. They'd be eligible for unemployment. Okay, which brings us to unemployment.
Did you want to talk about the reimbursement for the FFCRA?
Yes, so Jen makes another good point. So this sounds like an awfully onerous circumstance for employers, but there is essentially immediate reimbursement opportunity for small businesses or any business. It's reimbursable from payroll taxes, and there's a form that is available to apply on the Department of Treasury, and you should check with your accountant or other financial advisor to consider under what circumstances you can apply for that. But it's not as if you have to send in a request and wait for money. It would be money that is already in the control of the business. Instead of making a payment of taxes, you fill out the application and you recover that money immediately from and don't remit the taxes. So it is immediate and available. Which brings us to unemployment. So for many businesses, they're facing the dilemma of how to operate under this circumstance and what they can possibly do to keep their business going in this environment where cash flow for everyone has been a serious crunch. So people are throwing around the term furlough versus layoff. Termination, I think everyone understands. I mean, if someone has made I'll start in reverse order. If someone's made a decision that their business is not going to sustain the same number of employees and they make a decision to terminate somebody, they provide the unemployment separation package, which is the second bullet point. Actually, that package should be provided for any of the categories that we have listed above. But a termination, in a sense, is the most permanent. The expectation is that someone won't be coming back. A layoff and a furlough both suggest and can suggest that it's your hope to bring someone back. But a layoff is, you're not working here any longer. We're going to provide a COBRA notice, which and termination of other employee benefits. And the employee is then eligible and obligated to take care of their own health insurance premiums and needs. People have been using the word furlough to suggest that it's a temporary situation during this emergency. We're going to bring people back if necessary and when possible. And we expect to be able to keep them on our existing group health insurance during this period of furlough. Technically, under a non-emergency situation, that would not work. For most group health insurance benefits, someone needs to be on a payroll. Every group health insurance company that I've spoken to, and I've spoken to a number of brokers, have indicated that the insurance companies are allowing this to happen as long as the premiums are being paid. But the proper thing to do is to certainly check on any individual circumstance before you make one of these decisions. Consider what's going to happen with your health insurance. And if you have someone that's coming off payroll, to make sure that you are still able to pay your premium. And even though they're not on payroll, they can stay as part of the group health plan and you don't have to cover them. A hybrid opportunity is to lay somebody off, provide them with a COBRA notice, and offer to pay some or all of the COBRA premium or expense, which is something you can just do if your business has the opportunity to do that and you want to help an employee or you have a hope of bringing them back at some point or for some other reason. There's nothing preventing someone from providing that money. So that can certainly happen. So filling out the unemployment form from the employer's perspective, pretty straightforward. The one item that has produced quite a few questions is the return to work date. If you're trying to consider either the furlough or a layoff as opposed to a termination, obviously termination, there is no return to work date. You don't have to fill that out even in that circumstance. The employee will have an opportunity and a request when they go online to fill their unemployment application out to fill in a date. Initially, that was the guidance from the Connecticut Department of Labor was they were advising the employees who were laid off over a week ago to fill in April 1. Now they're saying April 15th. That may change again. That date is available on the Department of Labor website and they recommend it, but that's a decision for the employees to make. The employers don't have to fill out that form. Frankly, for the reason for unemployment, either lack of work, which is an accurate statement, is acceptable. That will not interfere with somebody's ability to get benefits. Or you can put other, and if you want to try and put furlough, that's being recognized as well. Again, even though it's a little bit of a collective fiction, there really isn't such a thing, but everyone's acting as if it is, so it works. So there's perfectly fine.
Hey, Louis, question
Yes.
for you. So this is traditional employment and traditional unemployment.
Right.
How about for those people that are sole proprietors or single person office or independent contractors? This is something new under our current circumstances. What would or could they do to get some relief.
So Peter, you mentioned that earlier when we were all speaking. Are you speaking about if someone is a sole proprietor and shuts their business, can they go and apply for unemployment? Is that your question?
Yes.
I mean, I would frankly, I'm not aware of that. If you have
Okay.
something in mind and you're aware of something, I'd be interested to know.
Okay. Okay.
But
Or
if you're asking me, I think that there's nothing in this FFCRA that changes that equation.
Okay.
Yeah.
and how about the stimulus package, the CARES Act, or is this one and the same?
No, they're two separate acts. The CARES
Okay.
Act is designed to give operating businesses some cash flow release. What's that?
Yeah. you
Yeah.
Can't have one.
Yeah, and it's designed to prevent, Jennifer's pointing out, it's designed to prevent layoffs. So that's again, that's another discussion for another webinar. But
Which also, I'll just jump in, goes into the shared work that I know people have been asking about, with
Right.
that particular requirement that you can't lay off your employees, and there's
Yeah.
specific eligibility requirements for that, as well as an application that the employer needs to file before the employees would even be eligible. So Lou, maybe you wanted to touch on that. And that
yeah,
may answer some of
somebody
Peter's
popped
questions.
up, and in fact, somebody just popped up with that question on the chat box. So that's exactly right. There is a Connecticut shared work option, and it's a little tricky to make. First of all, an employer has to apply for that before they make any decisions and lay anybody off. So it's not something you can do retroactively. You have to file it, get the request. Traditionally, it had taken a fairly long time to get these answers. They are trying to expedite these, and I've spoken to some people who have gotten answers in 48 hours. But the highlights of this program are that you can lay off no more than 10% of what they call a business unit. Now, for our purposes and for purposes of most businesses, that would probably divide along the lines of, say, admin, maybe paraprofessionals, and then professional staff. If you have a bigger operation and you have maybe all sorts of technical staff, and you know, if you really have a big a factory or some sort of, you know, you're running a large operation where you may have different grades of employees, then a business unit is what's being discussed here, and you can't lay off more than 10% of that business unit and have eligibility for this Connecticut shared work program. Of the people, so the idea is to keep as many people in a business unit working. You can not reduce their hours anymore. The idea is to reduce their hours from between 10 and 60%. That's the exact window of reduction that is contemplated by the act. And what happens is the people that are then still working anywhere from 40 to 90% of their regular work week get paid that money, and then half of their weekly benefit rate from unemployment. So they would apply to unemployment, and they could end up with a better overall amount of money in their pocket, and it benefits the employer in the short term in that they're reducing weekly cash flow, and everyone just has to deal with the earnings implication that'll come from unemployment next year with all these, you know, the experience ratings that'll come down. But that's a problem for next year, which will seem small compared to what everybody's dealing with now. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, there was one other question. Can you have different percentages for different business units?
Yes, certainly. So that's the point of the applications. You can definitely do that. As long as you have a justifiable reason for describing what's going on in those units, they want people treated similarly within the unit. And again, so think along the lines of admin, paraprofessionals, and professionals. You could see how different groups would have different work requirements.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yep. I think that brings us pretty close to the end of our.
To the employee considerations.
Okay. So we had one more slide. So for employees, the same consideration applies. The biggest thing I think for employees that I would say is, if someone whose hours are just reduced and you're not otherwise applying for the Connecticut shared work, many times those employees can, and under any circumstance certainly should, apply for a reduced benefit. There's a formula that unemployment applies to what you're still making and what your weekly benefit rate would otherwise be. And you may be able to get some small additional payment from unemployment. Certainly makes sense from that employee's perspective. Obviously, if they're laid off or terminated and they're not working at all, then they should be eligible for their entire benefits unless there's something else going on. I guess I should also mention, and if someone needs to be still ready, willing, and able to work, they have the Connecticut Department of Labor has relaxed the job search requirements that traditionally would be an indicia of that fact that you're already willing and able to work. But if you're actually sick and you're down and out with the condition, you would not be eligible for unemployment. Under some circumstances, depending on what happened and when that happened, and if your business is still operating and you were still in the books when it happened, you would be eligible for the sick leave that we talked about at the top. And that's what that's all about. And then the filing for unemployment benefits is done all online at the site identified at the bottom of the screen. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jen.
And again, I think we'll hold questions until the end, and let's go to our friends. Yes.
Oh, do you want to leave just that last screen up that our attorney friends had on it? If you just want to leave that on the screen for a second, people can write that down.
Yep, I'm sorry. Did that pop up again or not?
Yeah, you can go right ahead. And I have to find.
Sorry, bear with me. There's screen. There we go.
Yeah, just leave that out just for 2 seconds for people to know that they are a great resource to reach out to. Both Jen and Lou just are, they know their stuff. So please use them as a resource. So if you need to write, we'll send this information out to everybody that's on the call too. But in the meantime, if you want to write that down, it's in front.
Thanks, Nancy. And just so everybody knows, and Lou kind of touched on in the beginning, we are a full service law firm. We have 15 attorneys here. So we have someone who handles everything pretty much from the employment law issues, bankruptcy, probate, trust and estates, healthcare law, regulatory compliance, criminal, you name it, we do it, one-stop shopping. So happy to help you in any way that we can. And if for some reason we can't do it, we can certainly get you to the right spot. So feel free to reach out to Lou or I.
Great. Thank you. Thank you,
Cool.
guys.
Thank you. All right. I just unmuted Clayton, and I'm looking for your partner in crime.
So Sarahi is she called me on the other line. She's having technical difficulties getting back on right now. She's going to try to hop on as we're speaking, but I'm going to go ahead and speak on her behalf until then. And also, Peter, if you wouldn't mind, if you're sending this slide out to everybody, if you can add in our contact information, that would be great, as we're going to be a bank resource for a lot of people who are logged on today.
Cool. I shall do that. I'll get all the information to Nancy,
Yep.
and we'll get it out.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And thank you, Nancy, for having us on. My name is Clayton Gorey. I'm with Bankwell Bank. We are located in Hamden and other regions as well. We've been working with the chambers for a while now, and we just wanted to get on today. A lot of you are probably going to have questions regarding the PPP program. And as a bank, this news had just came out recently, and this program was just passed recently. So we're still kind of going through our guidelines and regulations of how our lending facilities are going to align with the SBA and how that's going to work. So Nancy and I, we had a conversation about this earlier, that we'll have more information for everybody regarding SBA and our guidelines and how we're going to lend to this capacity later on in the week. With Peter adding our contact information on this slide, you'll have my contact information and my partner Sarahi, who's also in the SBA lending for the bank. So with any questions that come up, we advise and we suggest everybody to reach out to us for any questions. As of right now, we're just kind of limited on what information we have on our end, as Peter and Lewis talked a little bit about the guidelines and the requirements to fulfill and to be a part of these programs. On our end, our people, as you guys are going to act upon this, we're still kind of short answered in terms of what we know on our end and how we're going to be lending to this.
All right, cool. Sarahi just joined us.
Okay, perfect.
Sarahi, you there? Sarahi? All right.
We
She
hear
might have-
her.
Yes, we do. Sarahi, can you hear us? Why do I want to say ground control to Major Tom right
There
now?
she is. We see you.
Hey, Sarahi.
Hi, Sarahi, we see you. Can you hear?
Hi,
Hi.
I'm
We're
sorry, I
good.
was having problems with connection, so,
Okay, you can take it. You're up. We just heard from Clayton.
okay.
So talk
So
about
you-
jumping right in.
Do you want me to talk about the Paycheck Protection Program and,
Yeah,
Okay.
similar to what we talked about this morning. Everybody has those burning questions. We know we know the bill was signed, the legislation was put through on Friday, and we're just kind of looking for any additional information that we can get. Everybody here
Okay.
is a small business owner, sole proprietor, or otherwise. So anything that you can offer would be very helpful. Thank you.
okay, well, my name is Sarahi Jordan. I work at Bankwell Bank in the branch office in Hamden. If you hear some little voices in the background, it's my granddaughters. They're having homeschooling right now, so I'm pretty sure everybody understands the current situation. We are an approved SBA lender. We are going to be fielding and managing the Paycheck Protection Program. We don't have all the answers. As SBA and the Treasury Department, they're still working on providing us guidance and with the lending parameters. But what I can do offer at this moment is a summary of what the CARE Act is when it's in regards to the PPP program. Businesses that qualify are small businesses concerned under the current law. Businesses that are eligible are operating businesses and nonprofit organizations with fewer than 500 employees, and sole proprietors and independent contractors are also eligible. Loan terms and the usage of the funds, the application period has not yet started, but it ends on January 30th, 2020. The maximum loan amount is 10 million or 2.5 times of the payroll average total monthly payments for the year. So whatever the amount is on an average basis on a monthly, it'll be 2.5 times, and that will be your loan amount. The loan amount will cover only an 8-week period. Loan proceeds can be used to support payroll, such as salaries, commissions, paid sick or medical leave, insurance premiums, rent, utilities, any mortgage interest debt that the business may have in place prior to 2/15/2020. Loan interest at the moment is based at 4%. Now, I was informed yesterday by the SBA that this may change. It could be lower, but the max is 4%. And the max maturity is for 10 years. Now, there is a provision under the PPP program. There is a forgiveness provision eligible for borrowers. The caveat is that we need to provide, or the business owner needs to provide evidence of that payroll. So it has to be anything like from ADP, payroll checks, anything that you can provide us with evidence that covers the payroll period for that 8-week time, that will be forgiven. So please make sure that each business has an accurate record. Once we are in that forgiveness phase, we'll need to provide that information to the SBA for them to approve the forgiveness. Any other issues that we've saw from the CARE Act, the program waives any typical SBA loan requirements. As far as obtaining credit elsewhere, that's waived. They are also waiving any personal guarantees and collateral. So the most important thing here is that we need to document the payroll expense. And that's all I have for now. Again, we don't have the lending parameters. We don't have a guidance yet that will be rolled out on Friday. Once we have that information, Bankwell and other approved lenders, SBA lenders, will be able to roll out the application process. So I wish everyone good luck and patience during this time, and allow us bankers to perform I know everybody is in dire need, and we're doing the best we can at this moment.
So Rahi, question for you. How is Bankwell handling inquiries, or how would you suggest that we as a community inquire as to when this process might be quantified and we can begin to take action?
Right now, Bankwell, the way we're handling it right now, we're taking inquiries, names and phone numbers and email addresses of our current customers and new customers requesting the payroll protection program. We're making a list, and once that becomes available, we'll be reaching out to them again to make sure that we have all the information that we need to process the application. Excuse me for a second.
Yeah.
Girls, can you go over there? Sorry about that.
This is real life right here.
I am multitasking, people. I am not only a professional, but I'm also a daycare provider and doing a million other things. So
There you go.
anyway, that's what Bankwell is doing right now. So we're taking names, and once the program becomes available, we'll start rolling out the application process. I don't know. I've heard from other lenders from other institutions, they're doing the same thing. So for now, that's what we're doing. Now, as far as, what other question did you have?
I'm not sure, but I do have
Okay.
two others.
Okay.
I'm my own worst enemy. I can't remember anything. The other two questions are, these monies are being or will be being doled out by SBA approved lenders only.
Right, right.
Okay. And the second question is, must it be your bank, the bank that you do business with, or can an individual go to any SBA approved lender to get into the program?
We encourage our customers or any businesses that are listening in to go to their bank where they do their financing or banking needs, to go to them and ask first if they're a approved SBA lender. If they're not, there's a list on SBA's website where they can go sba.gov and find an approved lender nearest to their business. Bankwell is an approved SBA lender, so we can process applications at the bank.
Okay. So they could either go to the SBA site, or they could just call Bankwell.
Exactly.
Right.
Or they can call their community folks like CIC, forgive me, or CEDF. Those are approved micro lenders, and they can give them more information as to what bank they can call.
Okay, cool. Good, thank you. Do you have anything else?
No, I just wish everyone the best of luck, and please stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you. Thank you. We are that is our plan. So before we open up for questions, we do want to hear quickly from Dale Krupp, who is the Director of Hamden Economic Development, Town of Hamden. Dale, I just unmuted you, and if you would be so kind.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
we can hear you.
All right, beautiful. Okay, so what I don't want to do is repeat what everybody else presented today. I just want to fill in a couple of gaps in terms of the programs being rolled out, and point well taken by all the speakers that everything is, in flux, in that we're getting information as it comes out. I would really encourage the businesses that are interested in any aspect of the program, whether it's the unemployment insurance or loans and so forth, to stay on top of it. The state of Connecticut rolled out a program last week for emergency funding, and a lot of these programs, by the way, are only through June or July or the end of the year, depending on the program. So this isn't like because things are happening so quickly and we don't know how it's going to end up, it's important for you to stay on it. They rolled out a $25 million GAP program for business to get grants and loans, small low interest loans through the state of Connecticut, not the SBA. And what happened was the $25 million would serve 350 or some odd businesses. 5,000 businesses applied within 72 hours. So I don't think it's going to be terribly different with the SBA. So make sure that you stay on top of it. A couple other things I'll just fill in real quick. The SBA does offer emergency injury disaster loans and emergency injury grants through the Hartford office at 860-240-4700. These are $10,000 grants and low interest loans that don't have to be paid back. If you can't, the idea is to keep people employed. So if you're an employer and you don't want to lay off people, you would apply to the SBA at that phone number. I've already seen some releases on some of the companies in Hamden that have gotten this $10,000, so I would get on that right away. This is something that they say that could be approved within 3 days. This is, again, really related to keeping your people on the payroll. So also on the payroll, there's also some other payroll tax benefits of the new bill, the federal bill that allows the taxpayers to defer paying the employer portion of the certain payroll taxes till the end of 2020. Again, these are things you should stay on top of. And if you are an existing SBA company, business that borrowed money in the past before all this happened, there's a lot of relief through the SBA. So I really would encourage you to call that Hartford office phone number. They're going to be mad at me because they're going to get a million phone calls. But if you already have an existing SBA loan, I would definitely be on that.
Hey, Dale.
So the other thing I just want to, yeah.
Excuse me, they're going to get 1,050,000 phone calls. Can I get that phone number again, please?
Absolutely. 860-240-4700.
Yep. Yep. Okay, for everyone's sake, I just posted that in the chat. So at the bottom of your screen, you'll see something called chat. If you click on that, you'll see a message with that telephone number. Go ahead. Sorry, Dale.
Okay. Two more things I want to say. One is, again, to reiterate that everybody that's interested, no matter what aspect, even the direct payments to people, which I know we didn't discuss today, to stay on top of what's online for information because it changes all the time. So if you go to Senator Chris Murphy's website, he has an excellent FAQ printout on how exactly all of these things are in real time, how they've changed, how the banks are going to get more lending criteria and so forth. Through my own Facebook page, through the Hamden Economic Development Corporation, not the town, but the corporation's Facebook page. That's the way that I've been posting information as I get it in real time. And then I usually follow it up with emails to people. If you're not in my email system, I can put you on our list at dkroop@hamden.com. Any of you that have worked with our office knows that we communicate a lot of information besides what's happened recently. And make sure that you go to the Facebook page because that's the first place I could post it because I can do it at any time. The other thing I just want to mention is a lot of these programs cover nonprofits as well as for-profit businesses. So you have to kind of dig into the weeds a little bit to find out which ones apply to which ones. But particularly the PPP, I believe, applies to nonprofits as well. And there are some other programs that, because nonprofits are businesses too, and they're a big part of our economy. And Peter, the last thing I just want to say to people is we are all, economic developers are maybe a half a step ahead of the people that have, that are trying to figure out what to do because there's so many problems to solve and worrying about your own health and family. So my office, is working as much as we can with the mayor and to share information with Nancy and the business community. But I am working on something called a resiliency plan. And I kind of just want to mention this. When this is over, whenever it's over, think about the day after the medical emergency is over, and you're trying to come out from the basement and figure out what to do next with your business and how to recover, restart it, or whatever situation you're going to be in. We're going to start engaging the public in Zoom events as well, because we can't do live events, and talk to businesses to ask them about how the government and the business community can change things to improve things going forward. Things are not going to be the same anymore. The workforce, for example, is not going to come back to work all at once. There's going to be different ways that we do things, more online, more technology. So how do we definitely work towards a plan to be resilient when this is over with? And I keep focusing on the day after. So, workforce is a big part of that. Technology is a big part of that. Real estate and land use development is a really big part of that. Okay, how do we proceed on September 1st when everything goes back to normal? And I'm not projecting September 1st, I'm just using it as an example. Okay, how do we go back to being civil? How do we go back to working together within your business clusters? In other words, all the healthcare providers, all the manufacturers, all the retailers, how do they work together to not fight over the workforce? There's going to be lots and lots of people looking for a job. So I know I'm saying a lot there, but we are going to be reaching out and giving examples of how we could start working on resiliency planning after this is over. Because if we don't start doing that now, we're going to be way behind when the healthcare crisis is over. So I hope that's not too esoteric of a topic, but I definitely think that we need to think about the day after this is over. And that's all I got today.
That's a perfect way to end what it is that we were talking about, because we are planning for recovery. So Nancy, before you say anything,
Absolutely.
I posted the telephone number Dale gave us. I posted Chris Murphy's website. I posted Dale's email address. One is incorrect. The other one is correct. So use the correct one, please. Hamden spelled correctly. I also posted SMB's website and that tech help email address in the chat box. So you might just want to go over and look at that, and then we'll close in 1 minute. Nancy, you were going to say.
So just from the chamber's perspective, as Dale was mentioning about what happens when we come out of it, we're always thinking about what we're doing to come out of it, but I'm also thinking about doing what when we're in it. So as a resource, we added 3 new pages on the chamber's website. So right on the front page on hamdenchamber.com, there's 3 specific new tools for people. And what we're all about right now is sustaining and keeping the businesses that are in business functioning. So for instance, our takeout takeover page, this is updated daily. There's over close to 50 businesses that are on there, from grocery stores to restaurants to liquor stores, to see who's open, what are their takeout hours. And because it changes daily, we're staying on top of different businesses that saying, well, we used to be open from this date to this day, but because we're so busy, we need to restock. So now we're open from this time to this time. So that page is changed all the time. And I think what's great about it is, be mindful of still supporting our local businesses. My little hashtag is we need them, they need us. These restaurants need to be here when the smoke clears. So if people can take advantage of takeout options, curbside, they're being very creative. Some have, a free bottle of wine or different options to do. That's all on the takeout takeover page. We also have a love from your local businesses. There are some businesses that are not restaurants, but they are open and they are offering discounts. So if you have a business that's offering something in particular, or just saying that, hey, we're open, we're doing something virtual, we're doing something online, whether it's sales or yoga classes, doesn't matter what it is. But if you have a service that you are offering something, email me and I'll get that up on the website as well. The last piece, which we opened, which is constantly updated on a daily basis, is a small business recovery resource page. That again is a one-stop shopping location that is up to date on a daily basis of new information. Again, links to SBA, links to all the different options out there for you, so you don't have to go hunt and peck and figure out where it is. We've got the location for you. If there's something on there that you say that, hey, I wonder where that is, it's missing, I can't think of everything, but send it to me and I'll make sure that it gets up on there. And again, as Dale mentioned, as far as Facebook, we are very, very engaged on the Chamber's Facebook page and social media. We're constantly sharing businesses information. So that's a place to stay connected, post, share, keep our commerce going. We still have to, we know that there's going to be an end in sight, but when we're in the middle of it, we still need to support those local businesses and keep them afloat the best that we can.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank
So I did post, I posted a bunch of things in the chat. PPC, Parrot Porto Parisi, the law firm address, Bankwell's address, the Hamden Regional Chamber information. Jennifer and Sarahi just posted their email addresses and phone numbers. So use those.
Great.
If you want to show some love, again, everyone here is giving out of community service. So if you do want to show some love, visit our websites. Visit the Chamber's website, PPC Law, Bankwell, SMB Networks. Go to Google My Business page and give us a good review. something. Let's pay it forward. With that, I'm going to open up for questions. So let's see if anybody, you can post them in the chat. Somebody that wants to ask a question. I'm not 100% on this one, but
Can they raise their hand, Peter?
they can raise their hand, except for the people that don't have hands to be raised.
Mhm.
All right, maybe I don't see anything in the chat. No one's left though, so they must think that we're going to be serving wine and cheese or something. I don't know.
That'd be lovely.
I don't know what's
And we know it's a chamber
Happy
event.
hour discussion.
exactly. I don't know what's happening with that. All
Well,
right.
They've
Well,
done a good job.
Yeah, you know, for our first time doing this, I think it really is being very well received. Stay tuned for more of these to come up. My goal is to have them on a weekly basis to keep people informed, even including our chamber committees, getting our healthcare council together, getting our women in business group together, getting our CBNs, which is our business networks. All, you know, it's so important to be able to see everyone and keep the connections going. So I really appreciate Peter's time and helping us to, you know, develop this type of a platform. It's so useful. We're appreciative of his services, and we'll definitely be continuing this next week. So stay tuned on that.
all right, cool. Everyone, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and we're coming out of this thing.
We're coming out, giving love.
Exactly. Thank
Well
you.
done, guys. Way to be positive.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank
Take
you,
care.
everyone.
Thanks.